introduce the highly incumbent who will guide NAFCOC SA in leading the 9 provinces with integrity. Business expansion strategy and economic emancipation. He is able to take NAFCOC to another level as stated in Vision 2023. I'm sure you, Mr. President, will be able to elaborate on that one. He is a person who is going to provide capacity building for NAFCOC constituencies. We are in the process currently to revive businesses of former business people who used to send their children to school and have a living out of it. He is very passionate towards rural reform and been vocal on the issues of invasion by foreign people in our areas. This year, NAFCOC programs will be geared to engage our government to clean out that space so that our people can take their rightful position in economy as blacks. Part of his passion to enforce business developments towards industrialization program as set out in the National Development Framework. We saw the signing of MOU between NAFCOC and Vista University in his first day in office. The newly incumbent is a born businessman of Eastern Cape, born in the dusty areas of former Transkei and Ngobo. He is a successful business person who will take NAFCOC from where it is to a high level by implementing Vision 2023. Utata wethu ke he's married, ne? Siyambona nomama wethu umhle ulapha ecaleni kwakhe, siyamamkela naye kakhulu, siyavuya nokumbona. Utata ke sicela ke asondele ngaphambili. Let's please give him a warm welcome and a round of applause. Over to you, Mr. President. Right.
I will take this opportunity and greet you. Amen. I am happy to be here. This is my first event after having been elected as the NAFCOC President. And more happier that this event is in the Eastern Cape where I come from. Thank you for this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it is something very, very close to my heart. I appreciate the fact that NNZ function and Vagwenye function. We were here 2-3 weeks ago for a road show, and I'm telling you, it's all over that Eastern Cape is doing this, is doing that in all the districts. And the Eastern Cape is resuscitating and reviving NAFCOC. It's not only Nelson Mandela Bay. I spoke about what you are doing in our first executive meeting, and I was told that I should really greetings from our new executive. I am tempted to do a lot of other things in terms of the approach, because what I planned was to read my speech, but I cannot avoid to make comments on some of the speakers. Somebody said that the good and the matured people. Somebody used that word earlier. I cannot avoid to make comments about that, but let me start with the graduates and congratulate the graduates. As I indicated earlier, Dingumdu said by Billion and say there is a very, very good verse for them. I'm not going to preach it. I just read that sentence or that verse. Paya ku Isaiah 60, verse 1, it says, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee." That's about all I can say to you, graduates. And amen. And one other thing, I want to make a request, special request to the leadership yalapebai, and say, please, guys, we had trainers who were training us perpetually, IPM. You should remember IPM. They would train you, training of a trainer, training, they would train you, and without giving you opportunity. I want to get statistics when I come back here in January. Even if you say one of those people who were trained has been able to access opportunity, or at least there are opportunities available for them. We don't just train them for the sake of training. We don't just train as if we're just doing business. Huh? These people must be able to access opportunity, and I want that statistics, Giraffe or Tsenza. I came down, invited to come and give a Christmas message, but I cannot afford to miss the opportunity to talk to you about a lot of other things at NAFCOC. We must all remember that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. Abo Tatu Mtwenyane, abo Tatu Nkonyeni, abo Tatu Vanchi, and the list is long. And abo bandu those people participated in NAFCOC without necessarily knowing that they will get anything from anyone. They used their meager resources. It would be painful for us at this day and age, where there are resources available, instead of using those resources to develop NAFCOC structures, we do something else. And you must know that we are all equally guilty if, when we see people doing that, we keep quiet. NAFCOC ought to be the voice of business in South Africa. I nearly got tempted to say black business. No. Yes, it was created for such during the apartheid time, during those days where black business was, you could only do as what was his spaza, man, Dala. It's hot. But today, we are governing this country, and as such, we must demonstrate that this NAFCOC of ours, this NAFCOC which went to exile to go and meet the liberation movement, to go and meet ANC, PAC, is now able to influence and guide and make sure that transformation is not a buzzword. Because what is happening now, you talk about economic transformation, you don't know where we are. We are 20 years, we are still talking about issues of access to finance, when we are still unable to get money. And yet we are governing this country. And yet we have got structures. Remember, I'm not throwing stones at TDC or government funding institutions. All I am saying, we are governing this country. And we must have ways and means of control. We must be able to say, yes, we are meeting, every 2 months we are meeting ECDC. Every 2 months we are meeting these other structures. And we don't just meet there, they must be able to demonstrate to us that they got this type of budget. And this is what they have done. Statistics is key. Statistics is key. People should be able to say, yes, we funded so many blacks. Our people have got ideas, our people are ready, our people need to be funded. We must be able to say, this is what we have done. I'm happy to tell you about the meeting we had with the Minister of, with our line minister, the Minister of Small Businesses. She called us. Her request is very straightforward. She says, Macingwane and your executive, this is what we are requesting from you. We would like to have meetings with you every month. And we've agreed. And we'd like you to report to us the difficulties you are having. You know, that was a bit gray to us. And she explained, if your people want money or their businesses need to be funded, or you are hitting a wall when you want to talk to other departments, the minister said, here is my Director General. Please ask them to assist you. And we smiled, because we have always been needing an offer like that, where you have people applying for funding, and they are asked, no, you want 10 million, you must have 10%. You want this, you must get that. Statistics is very, very central in us going forward and talking to the funding institutions. The other day I was doing the maiden speech in Durban, and I said there is a cancer in the organization, and this is what we need to do. That's a don't. We are going we're trying to get it out of the way. We are saying, if NAFCOC Eastern Cape has to be right, has to be constitutional, all the structures of NAFCOC in this, it cannot be NMB, Nelson Mandela Bay only. It cannot be East London. It cannot be, but Eastern Cape has so many regions, and all the regions have to be active if NAFCOC Eastern Cape has to be constitutional. So I must take this opportunity again and thank Mr. Mandla Msizi. You know, they think that Mandla ndiyamthanda. No. Mandla went out of his way. Wayemthatha, wayemonti, ngemoto yakhe, to try and resuscitate this region. We were asking many people, saying, guys, can we have at least Nelson Mandela Bay functioning, working? Nobody, not a single one was able to do what he did. And I'm not saying this is the case, but there are situations in other regions where people have got a sliding door. When they think that you are going to cooperate with them, whatever interpretation you have with that, you are going to cooperate with them, they open the sliding door. The moment they look at you and see that, hey, and there is this silver vanity money coming, so that when it comes, we are able to say, this is mine. This is mine, this is yours. This is exactly what we're trying to work, the tide we're trying to work against. Because I said exactly the same thing to the chairperson of Gauteng, where you've got only 2 regions working in Gauteng. You've got Ekurhuleni and the other one. Pretoria is not working. Perhaps for the same reason. The money comes every month. Every month, Gauteng gets 82,000 for the administration of the province. Every month, Eastern Cape gets. This time, I signed it. every time, every day, every month, Eastern Cape, like all other structures, are NAFCOC. Of course, except three which are not part of Silver Vanity. But we have no control on Silver Vanity or the money which comes to the province, except to say, let it land. It's got to land on the right hands. What constitutionally correct hands. What does that mean? Eastern Cape is not Eastern Cape without all these regions, at least the majority. There are 6 of them here. And everything which happens in the Eastern Cape, we expect it to be a decision after consulting all the structures of the Eastern Cape. We're trying to send a very, very strong message, ladies and gentlemen, that NAFCOC, I hear Kusta is talking about corruption. NAFCOC is not going to be another VBS. I'm not saying there are signs. I reserve my comments when it comes to that. But NAFCOC is not going to be another VBS. If there are people who are doing wrong, I know people who are doing wrong always try and resist, always try and say, this president. The corruption in this organization, if it is there, and if we identify it, we are going to make sure that we're not going to even wait for any commission, Zondo Commission. We are going to attend to it and make sure that it's not there. I've spoken about the NAFCOC youth, and please understand, one of my strengths in this position is that women and youth shall be on the forefront. This thing of youth being the leadership of tomorrow, they've got to start today and now. And we must make sure that every structure of NAFCOC has got a youth representing their structure. This applies to all the structures, including Eastern Cape. Mr. Fago, please also understand that what I said earlier, that we are not necessarily qualified for administrative positions because we are elected. I want to recommend and suggest and try and influence all NAFCOC structures to have qualified administrators. That includes your structure as well. That includes your province as well. That's what I'm trying to do at head office, to get a CEO for NAFCOC head office, NAFCOC national office. And this is going to, in fact, if you recall, I worked for NAFCOC as a CEO for 7 years, 6.5 years, 7 years, and there was demarcation between politics and administration. And this is what is supposed to happen now. And this is what we are going to be doing with immediate effect. Another suggestion which I have already discussed with the executive is that for other council members to understand what is happening within NAFCOC, when the when the council sits, that is NAFCOC council sits, which is the supreme body of the organization. We are going to open up for those who are able to come and sit as observers. That's why I was asking yesterday, Dadu Gawe, okokuba abantu basuka apha eBhayi sebesemonti baxelwa bahambe, instead of saying, no guys, you are here already, you can sit here as observers. And NAFCOC, I cannot say NAFCOC yam. No Fago cannot say NAFCOC yake. This is people's organization. And we are deployed there to make our own contribution. And we are deployed there to serve the people. And NAFCOC was created and born for a specific purpose. NAFCOC's vision, some people were asking me, what is NAFCOC's vision? NAFCOC's vision remains original. NAFCOC shall be the voice of business in this country. All other details will be revealed to you in January as to what are the details of that. How do we get there? How do we make NAFCOC the voice of business? I always want to say black business. So sometimes if, slip of the tongue, by slip of the tongue I say black business, you must always understand that the intention is to say of business in South Africa. And I'm saying this as long as we're still sitting with that executive, this is what is going to happen. And we are very, very committed to that. And there is a trend in this organization where people do things and they don't account to anyone. We are putting our foot down and we're saying, if you do anything, you are going to account for it. And if it is not right, there shall be consequences. This is people's organization, and nobody is allowed to do as he pleases. We are very determined to restore NAFCOC's founding values as a champion of small business. I'm saying this for the second time. And this is very, very fundamental, very important. NAFCOC shall not be controlled by its investment arms. NAFCOC has a mission, and that mission has to be achieved. The understanding that small businesses, 95% to 99% is black business. That's why I sometimes want to say black business. To restore NAFCOC's credibility and NAFCOC's integrity. To strengthen power, I talked about the Federal Council as the supreme body of this organization. We are going to strengthen, where the Federal Council takes a decision, this is going to be law in this organization. And that's what is going to happen. We are faced with a situation where a resolution gets taken, people flout it, and people, there are no consequences. That has come to an end. Going forward, when the Federal Council takes a decision that's going to be law, everybody is going to abide by that. I am faced, well, the Office of the President is faced with a mammoth task where the reality is that NAFCOC had a big investment company of about 1.7 billion. You saw it on the papers. And other group took the other money, and there were court judgments, appeals against court judgments, And the Constitutional Court gave a ruling, and that still stands. But the challenge is some of those who are outside do not, were not really responsible for what happened, but they're outside. And there is a cry from the government, from all other people, that NAFCOC has to be united. And I can tell you now, NAFCOC shall be united. Whether it's going to cost us a lot of other things, but NAFCOC shall be united. The people who are outside, we are talking to them. We already started talking to them. And I can tell you now that once we solve the silver vanity issue, it's going to be very easy to unite NAFCOC. Because it is also true that those who are outside benefited, and those who are on the other side are still going to benefit. So we're trying to solve that towards unifying and stabilizing this organization. Then we shall be able to take NAFCOC to the next level. In ending, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, Mr. Fagu, that this is a business organization. Employees, workers, managers belong, I'm not talking to the ECDC people. Employees, workers belong to Black Management Forum. This is a business organization to make sure that to make sure that it looks after the interests of business people. And to a large extent, it's got to be represented by business people. You're not going to get an employee to come and be the president of NAFCOC. You're not going to get somebody who knows no business, who does not know the pains of business people, and ask them to come. Please, when you are electing people, I know we've had the national elections. In less than 6 months from now, we would have completed elections in the other areas. There shall be elections in the Eastern Cape. There shall be elections in the sectors. And all shall be done constitutionally. And as much as possible, we are hoping to make sure that, for instance, in the Eastern Cape, the province shall not be elected until there is the majority of the regions. You're not going to get one region to elect a chairperson and think that, no, this is the chairperson of the Eastern Cape. That applies to other sectors as well. For us to have an all-inclusive leadership, we have to make sure that elections are conducted constitutional. I know they will always challenge elections. There was a rumor that even in Durban, somebody was trying to challenge elections. Of course, that was after he had lost. We're not particularly bothered about that. If they win, they win. Even here in the province, we are saying, let there be election. I mean, if you sit in the province and sit without council meetings, you are an unconstitutional structure. If you sit in the province and begin to say to me, no, the last time we had elections was 4 years ago. And yet you suppose the last time we had council meetings was 4 years ago. And yet you're supposed to have council meetings 4 times a year. We are hoping to correct the situation where I know it might not be good news to many other people, but I'm saying, please be of influence to other regions. Mr. Msize, I really would like to say to you, encourage you. I know we're trying to get Matole active. Encourage you to talk to business people in Christian. I would like, out of these 6 regions, make sure that at least 4 regions are active in this province. We are going to revive and resuscitate NAFCOC in the Eastern Cape. There's something which, Sinazo, let me tell you something. I was a bit touched by your story. Remember, many other people now are not getting the opportunity you got. Remember, you told a story that you grew up in a NAFCOC environment, active businesses. Our children today do not have that opportunity because black business space has been hijacked, confiscated, dominated by the so-called foreign people. You know, I am not xenophobic, but when we talked to the minister about this, the minister said, guys, you must be united in your corners. I know Ghana decided to put together an action against this. You were privileged, you had the opportunity, you grew up in a business environment, something which is supposed to be happening even today. But all the businesses have been taken over by, and I am very, very strong. I know it was on the papers here in the Herald that NAFCOC is against black business being taken over by other people. Last but not least, I hear Kusta is talking about the land issue. I have an example, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have been able to express opinions and para-NAFCOC positions on the land issue. But let me tell you, we support the government's view on the land issue. Amen to that. And we also believe that there's got to be a CODESA on the land issue. Personally, I'm sitting here thinking that, I say personally, I'm sitting here thinking that if we don't follow the CODESA issue where there is going to be law on this, or somehow, some way of doing it, we're going to have a situation where one farmer goes to court and there is a decided case, and that would create more problems for us. So the CODESA side approach to us is very, very important. I want to ask Fagu, I want to ask your structure to think about creating a NAFCOC discussion on the land issue. It's got to start somewhere. Even if it's supposed to cascade down, even if it's going to also influence us up there. But there must be a gathering called by NAFCOC so that there is a unique position, a NAFCOC position after consultation, that this is what we say, or these are your recommendations to the national office. This is where you stand on the land issue. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.